princess, and she's also Atlanta legacy, Atlanta royalty, in my opinion. So I need y'all to make some noise right now for my good sis, Kelsey Russell. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh, thank you. It is on.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Can y'all hear her? Do it one more time. Get into there. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to do this. I haven't seen you in 2 years. That's so weird, but I feel like I see you all the time because of social. It is. Okay, so a true Georgia peach, a true Atlanta native, for those people out here who are not familiar with you, just give us a short synopsis of who you are.
So my name is Kelsey Russell. Wow, a brief synopsis. I like that. So I currently actually live in New York City. I created an entire TikTok brand surrounded about print media and how it is such a good tool for media literacy. But outside of that, I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and my grandpa's H.J. Russell. And so even though I don't work inside the business, that legacy is deep, deep in my heart. So I think that's my brief synopsis.
Just like that. So let's dive in. And if y'all have Instagram, this is somebody you absolutely want to follow. Kels, Kels, letter C, RUSS. I'm a fan. How many people in the room are readers of the newspaper?
Me.
Okay. And how many of you all read digitally the newspaper? Digitally. You read articles? Love that. So also too, we did receive some of you all's questions. There was, Shelly, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a link or a QR code where people can submit their questions, correct? Okay, cool. We have those for you. We'll find that throughout the day. But anyways, I like to do this call and response style. So if you just have something and you're intrigued, shout it out. We're a community, we're a family, all right? So I want to dive into the media literacy piece. And then also get into your legacy, because being the granddaughter of H.J. Russell it has got to be a weight that I don't know if I would have even known how heavy it was. When did you realize that your legacy is what it is, and did that shape what you chose to pursue?
Okay, I was just talking to my dad about this actually. I feel like it doesn't really hit me until I think about it, and it might just be because of the way my parents raised me. Was they very much said, we want you to do whatever you are passionate about and see the legacy that was created as something that can uplift you, not something that you have to follow directly. So it hits me when I think about it, especially because I think I've chosen a different route of following my own passion of how much I love learning, how I want to make it exciting for all generations. So it's only heavy when I think about it, and heavier when I'm in Atlanta. But I have to give my parents some props for never pressuring me to do absolutely anything.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think when I chose what I was going to do, it was a little more out of rebellion because there was so much I felt like I wasn't able to do. And so when I look at even speaking, and in the spaces that I do it, growing up, I wasn't allowed to listen to rap music or, what? Oh my gosh, lift every voice and sing, real bad.
Yeah.
That's all we knew. If you don't know that, then you don't turn on a V103. God forbid. So it's interesting to hear that, and I love that they poured into that. So I want to get into the media literacy part of it. So how do we even get the title Princess of Print, and why newspaper specifically?
Okay, my friend just made up that name in their basement. They were like, this would be good, would be Print Princess. It sounds nice. But I've always loved learning. I've always been a nerd. Like, I have loved the classroom. Not a teacher's pet, but I just love learning. I always felt comfortable in school. That's where I thrived. And I was in grad school at the time, and I was in like a policy class, and I felt just not as smart as the rest of my classmates. We would talk about current events, politics, and I'm an extrovert. I like to chit chat. I never have any problem saying what I think, but for the first time, I just felt insecure. I felt stupid. And I decided, actually, I don't think anybody's stupid, but I felt stupid. And I had to do something about it. So I thought back to myself of what I would do when I was younger and how I would consume the news. And I remember reading the newspaper very vividly, pretty much every day before I could drive, with my parents in the kitchen, and like talking to them about what was going on in the world, specifically the AJC every morning. And I also was just dealing with anxiety, pressure of comparing myself on social media. So I needed to find a wellness activity, but also something at the same time that made me feel like I knew what was going on in the world and I could participate. So I said, I'm just gonna get a newspaper, which is how I grew up reading. And I took to my TikTok and said, as old as this form of media is, it feels new to me. It felt refreshing to be separated from the algorithm. It felt like liberating to not be as emotionally tied to the news that I was seeing. And then when I was done with the news, I was done with it. Like, I didn't have to see it on my social media. So then it started opening all these doors of what is media literacy? How can I think about it differently? And the print princess just came from my friends saying, you kind of act like a princess, so you should go print princess.
That's good. I will say, I think you make understanding and wanting to seek news really fun. I've never considered opening a newspaper and taking a highlighter to it. Yeah. I mean, I take a highlighter to my Bible, but never the newspaper, right? So when you're breaking down the news, and obviously we're in an era where there are so many more people who are interested in news consumption digitally, how are we beating the headlines, the hot takes, the algorithms, and what's getting lost in translation with long-form journalism going away? That's
such a good question. So I always use the example of like two things when you're seeing digital news on your phone. Our algorithms are a positive echo chamber. So if I tell my algorithm, like, I love pizza and I love the color pink, it's gonna show me that all of the time. But if I show my phone for some reason that I hate the color blue and I hate hamburgers, it's when it shows me blue and shows me burgers, it's going to want to get an emotional reaction out of me. It's going to rage bait me, basically, right? I'm going to see all of the terrible comments. I'm going to think negative things. So I think what gets lost in translation is when we only consume news digitally, we're only consuming news that we've told our phones, our devices, I want to consume that. And then when we see news that maybe we don't agree with or makes us uncomfortable, it exists not to educate us, but to get an emotional reaction. So I think that gets lost in the algorithm, is we're almost too emotionally attached to what we're seeing, which then creates like a simple sense of apathy and you don't care. You become desensitized to what you're seeing. So I feel like when I see things in print and I'm able to touch them, I'm able to feel them, I'm guided towards an article because maybe it mentions a place I've always wanted to go that I would never come across on my Instagram or TikTok or whatnot. It just, you start to approach learning in the news with a sense of curiosity and like gossip and fun and not detriment, and it's the end of the world. And it's not. The world is still here. Yeah.
So you've been able to take news, make it fun, turn it into content, become this personality. When it was, I feel like what you told me a few years ago was like, I just started posting about it just to see if it would stick. And that turned into Bloomsburg. Yeah. That turned into being on a billboard in Times Square. Did you ever imagine in any world that just by cracking that newspaper open or starting by reading the comics, I don't know, how many comic readers do I have in here? One, got it. Did you ever think it would take you there?
No, I was at Comic-Con for the first time this year. I would have never thought to go to Comic-Con, but because of the paper, I get opportunities of oh, you should just come learn about something. So I would say, no, I didn't expect it, but also at the same time, looking back, I did something that I feel like anybody who wants to change the world does, is you follow your values. Like, you follow what makes you happy, and what makes me happy is learning, is education. So looking back, I guess because I followed my passions and stuck to it and used a platform like TikTok to keep sharing them, I guess it kind of does make sense that these opportunities came about. But it was just me being vulnerable with my audience. Like, I don't know what's going on in the world, and I don't like that I wake up and I don't know. So I didn't expect it, but I guess it's kind of cliche of when you're yourself, really great things happen after that.
Come on, authenticity.
Yeah, part.
Yeah. Y'all can clap for that. Okay, so my background is in radio, mass communications. I went to school for it, came out and got on air. Now, whenever I tell people that, they're like, hey, radio is dying.
Yeah.
Well, in that same breath, there are people who still listen to it, and I think there are still people who really indulge in print media.
Yeah.
But it is a dying industry. So can we talk a little bit about the importance of, or the shift in what happens when print media dies and it's all digital? It's like a Wikipedia page now.
Oh, it's bad. And I don't think we think about how bad it is. Like, for example, the AJC no longer printing.
Did y'all know that?
Yeah. They're no longer printing. And I have a couple concerns. I think the first thing is I always think about people who get left behind and who are the most important that need to know what's going on. Like, for me, I think about my grandma who reads the paper every day. And it's not so much that, you know, she lives her life. Like, she goes to Publix, she's happy, but at the same time, that routine is so important to her. That's what keeps people alive, is getting up every day, doing the same thing. So I think about when things are taken from certain populations, how that affects their health, how that affects their routine. But the other thing is historical evidence that's lost. Like, we live in a world where if you put out a news article, you can change it the next day. And to find a record of that can be harder and harder. So when you have something in physical print, and we think about how history is preserved, physical items are extremely important. So I think that that's why it's important. Younger folks, like, just buy print. If you see a magazine, purchase it, because it can't be alive if you don't buy it. So the preservation of history, people who need to know about the news getting lost. So those are my concerns about it not existing. Yeah.
I see you have a question. Hold on. Come down to the front. We're doing it this style. You're
like
getting
that.
this mic, sister. Come on.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn. So what you just said kind of reminds me of this database called Internet Archive.
Yes, Archive PH.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they keep a lot of like old information. And I think like the next level of like preserving things is like an internet database like that. So
Yes.
It's interesting you bring that up.
And I'm happy you brought that up too, because there's Wayback, y'all know Wayback Machine? You can use that, and then archive.ph, you can use that to break any paywall of like any digital subscription. You can just go on archive.ph. I'm happy you brought that up, because that's a question I get a lot. It's like, why I don't want to pay for media. Well, there's a way you don't have to pay for it, but also if you don't pay for it, it doesn't exist. So that's the. It is sad. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing people start receiving media and news through platforms like Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Do we have any streamers in the room? One, two, maybe. All right. And is it something that we can expect to see you on?
Yes, I would love to get on Twitch soon. I'm seeing a lot of streamers start reading on Twitch too. That's my vibe. I'm like, ooh.
Reading books?
They're reading books, physical books on Twitch. And it's been interesting to see, I think, folks who have such a presence, like, put themselves out there and physically pick up a piece of media and read it. But I think, like, also at the same time, I love print, but the importance is meeting people where they're at. Like, if people are on Twitch watching streamers, you should get educated at the same time. You should learn. As much as I love my physical media, I'm also a believer in whatever works for you, but don't get stuck in the way that you consume news. Always challenge yourself to something older and something newer. But yeah, I'm happy to see people reading and getting educational content on Twitch for sure.
So one of our audience members sent in a question.
Hi, audience member.
Let me see. What is the handle? Nikki_inspires? I don't know. She might be here later. If Nikki is here, shout out to you, Nikki. What is a challenge that has changed your current mindset when it comes to even adopting platforms like a Twitch and choosing to go content creator, media literacy influencer in a time where this isn't the most popular thing?
Biggest challenge? I would say consistency amongst any content creator is one of the hardest things, because even if I'm not happy with what's going on in the world, that doesn't mean that I can stop making content. And I've made that mistake, and you lose opportunities, you lose partnerships. So I think the biggest thing is, if you make this new niche, you can't just let it die. You have to always think about how it will evolve. So I would say that's one of the biggest challenges is consistency, and then also making sure you're staying true to your message, but also evolving with your audience. So I can't ignore what my audience wants me to do, even if I don't feel like that's what I want to do. So I would say that. And then I would also say, like, getting comfortable. Like, I did something on social media that no one has ever done. And I'm going to be real, I was actually talking at a luncheon 2 days ago, and I, like, kind of bombed the... Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It was not good. Like, I think I got too comfortable in my message of speaking, and this is what I do. So I think when you create something new, it's very easy to just kind of stay with the status quo and talk about the message. But when I got up there, I hadn't practiced my presentation as much. I don't think I thought about how my work has evolved. And it honestly showed on stage. And it was a moment where I think one of my biggest challenges is that you just get comfortable with what you're doing. And it's not until moments where you get real uncomfortable that's like, okay, I got to switch it up.
Yeah. So everybody in here has a phone.
Yeah.
And we're all, in some capacity, we will make some level of content, whether it's sharing an experience walking down the Beltline or whether it's in this room right now. What responsibility do we have? I know we're not all journalists, but in our own way, if it is writing our own stories or sharing news in the way that we know how can we continue to contribute to what feels like dying print media and keeping this level of it happened, it's on paper going?
Yeah. I would say that I would probably say two things. One, if you're somewhere and you actually encounter print, buying it. Like, physically purchase the media, and if doesn't work for you, sit and take like 10 minutes to flip through a magazine the next time you see one. I would also say taking the actual steps of media literacy. There's 5 steps, and applying it everywhere you go. So the first is description. When you are out, actually take a moment to look away from your phone and be like, what colors am I seeing? What am I smelling? What's around me? And that first step of media literacy, I think applying that to when you're walking on the Beltline, even if you have a moment of work, of taking in what's around you. And then if it resonates with you and you think about somebody, as silly as it sounds, like actually texting them, calling them, saying, I don't know, I saw this painting and it reminded me of you. And even though it doesn't have to do directly with print, I think by practicing the skills of media literacy, which is trying to really analyze where you are, taking that time, oftentimes means you have to get off your phone and look around you. So that's what I would say would keep print alive, is buying it, but also by actually having more human interactions that are off our phone.
Heard that. Can we take on that challenge? Everybody's like, I don't know about that, sister.
It's
I don't
hard.
know. So community is such a big part of not only yesterday's tomorrow, but I know with what you do and your family, how big in Kelsey Russell's life is community, and how has community helped keep you going? I don't know about y'all, but waking up every day to a new headline, to a new social media post, to things that are happening in the world. I know for me, it can become very overwhelming, but it is those side group chats with 2 or 3 people that have reminded me, like, where I want to turn my phone off. Okay, we can do this together. Like, I'm not in this by myself. So for you, when you're the person who is the voice, who is sharing the things with the people who are a little bit like me, who just don't want to hear it, but will hear it from you, talk a little bit about community and how that's helped you continue to create. I know you mentioned earlier, like, sometimes you'll just stop. But at this point, baby, we've been on a billboard.
Yeah, no, it's no stopping. It's no stop. I don't know. I was very much raised to, like, family over everything. Community is so important. Also, family being the family you choose. I feel like that's very important to keep in mind as well. I would say that baby, in this whole entire 2.5 years that I dedicated myself to read more news on print, I have realized how much consuming headlines on my phone feels more isolating than when I'm reading it in print. Like, I think about how I get up in the morning, I roll over, I go on my phone, I go on Instagram, and I read this horrific headline about how the world is not going the way I want it to go. And that feels super, super isolating. Like, that, I think, is the part where community has become more important to me because as I have challenged myself to consume news and paper, it almost forces me to be more so in my community. It's very different reading a headline about racism, about genocide. It's crazy as it sounds, in a coffee shop around other people than laying in my bed alone scrolling. So I think that it's taught me how it's just so important, no matter how devastating things are, to be in public with them, to speak to your friends about them, your community. And also that community shouldn't all agree. Like if we all agree as a community, that's boring. That's not, people should challenge you. People should think differently than you. So I think it's made me realize how important it is, even in these times, to have community, to talk to your community about what's bothering you, and be receptive if somebody doesn't fully agree with you, and not cut your community ties. So that's what I would say. And if anything, I feel like we can look at history. That's how the biggest movements happen. It's MLK Day. MLK didn't agree with everybody that he worked alongside. So I think that's important is, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it is like getting off that damn phone and actually getting into your community.
Drops mic. And I mean, I think that's a good segue into the legacy piece of it. I know you're rooted in the streets. You're about that action. As far as I can see, you will put yourself on the front line just so that we can understand better, and for that I am grateful. One quote that really sticks out to me literally every day is that life is lived forward but understood backwards. And so when I think about yesterday, you like that? I don't know who said that, but I do. Right. Life is lived forward but understood backwards. And so when I think about even the title of today's conference, Yesterday's Tomorrow, we are quite literally the people every single day doing what has to be done for our communities to make sure that our yesterday helps somebody's tomorrow. And so, excuse me. And so when you think about your tomorrow after everything that you've done so far, and you think about younger Kelsey, is what you're doing now what you thought you would be doing, one? And two, how is today and yesterday helping you get to your tomorrow?
Oh, I love thinking about little Kelsey. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready now.
Yeah. How is what you're doing now or what you were doing yesterday preparing you for your tomorrow? So, for example, you mentioned something before we got on stage about pivoting in your career.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And who knew?
Yeah.
So I do want you to just share, if you're open to sharing a little bit about that.
Sure. So I just applied for doctoral programs, PhD programs. Yay, clap. I hope I see claps in the inbox too, and acceptances.
Claps and graduation money. Yes.
Thank you. But I think back to little Kelsey, and little Kelsey is actually why I started my whole platform when I was in therapy. I mean, I was just like spiraling. I actually missed the whole Renaissance concert because of, that was bad. I kind of got to be like, mental health is important, but I should have gotten myself to the Renaissance concert. I probably would have felt better. But anyway, I was just had a moment, and my therapist said, what makes little Kelsey happy? And I automatically thought about myself in my school library, and I could care less about the mystery books, the fiction. I wanted an almanac. Like, I wanted a Guinness Book of World Records. I wanted to know how many pregnant women were in Kansas. That was my fascination. When I was at elementary, I was like, how many pregnant women are in each state? What crop is grown? Just like geeking out. I love it though. And I think about her and how much I wanted everyone around me to be as excited about the fun facts I was learning. Like, I was so excited about them. And at a certain point, I think I wanted to be a plastic surgeon, but I think I just wanted to be on TV and teach people about the plastic surgery. At a certain point, I wanted to be like a Judge Judy. I just wanted to use media to help people explore a different world. So looking back at little Kelsey, I don't think I expected to be doing exactly what I'm doing, but those values still match. The learning, the excitement of wanting to tell everybody what I'm learning and get them learning what they're excited about is still there. So I hope in this path of, I want to be a professor. I really want to be a college president. I love school, and I know for so many reasons people can't stand it. And that's what I think I really want to change. So it makes sense when I say it like that, but I don't think when I was 6, 7, 8, I was thinking about
6, 7.
I know I said it, guys. But when I don't think I was thinking about that then. I just knew I wanted everyone to be as excited as me to go to school.
I mean, when you think about the journey, man, it's never a straight line. It'll take you over the river and through the woods all the way to yesterday's tomorrow, where we hear stories like this right here that started as wanting an almanac to finding out how many pregnant women there were in Kansas to sharing and highlighting the newspaper. You were actually reading it. I was doing crossword puzzles. I mean, we are not the same.
But there's so many fun things for everybody. There's the recipes, there's the gossip. It's not just, that's the other thing I like to say, it's not just the news. Like, I was reading the lifestyle section in comics in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my jam.
So something fun before you get out of here. What is something that helps you stay in the serious space and the creative space? So is it cooking? Is it doom scrolling? Do you do that? What is that thing that helps you stay in a place of creativity and, I guess, not to get caught up in all the madness of what's happening in the world?
It should be cooking, but I love to eat out, so it's not that. I would say, it probably is what I actually made my New Year's resolution to be, that I've been doing, is just challenging. Like I said, I love to learn. I would say it's challenging myself to learn new things like each week. So even on Friday, I'm going to like a folk art museum and taking a tour of the quilts. Like, I don't know. But it's actually those small things, I think, that keep me in the space of, yes, I'm learning on this platform, but it's more than that for me. It's actually about following my own life's mission. And I would also say, in all the seriousness, like, you gotta be unserious. I feel like for me, it's hanging out with my friends. It's like sitting on the couch, the doing nothing moments. And then also, I'd say the third thing for me is nature. Like, I love being in nature, being outside, yes. And for so long, I would see that as something that's silly, but it actually is so important to me. Like, I'm a barefoot person in the woods. Like, I like all of that. So I like a hike. Yeah. Ooh. So I'm like, when I'm doing those things, connecting, I think, with the physical spaces that make me the happiest, connecting with the people and the material that makes me happy, I pretty much I'm decent.
Period. She's working. She is grounded, barefoot, all right?
And getting my nails done. That one too.
That's good.
Yeah, that one
the
too.
Princess part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get the nails done. So yeah.
Okay, and last thing, I like to encourage us or charge us with something from each speaker. I know we've dropped a lot of gems as far as, so more into the print media space, be more mindful, understand the importance of it. But if you had to leave us with one thing to charge us with for the year ahead, when it comes to media literacy, print media, digital media, however you consume, what would you charge this group with?
Can I charge the group with two things?
This your stage. Okay,
I would say whatever that thing you love is, if it's cars, if it's shoes, if it's comics, find a magazine about it and just get it this year and read it. That's it. Like, no more, no less. And I would say the second thing, this is kind of silly, look up more. Like, literally in your life, look up more. When you're walking, when you're doing something, actually move your head and look up more.
Yes, my chiropractor said the same thing.
Yeah, I should look up more.
Can y'all make some noise for Kelsey Russell?
Thank you all.